Hi everyone, and welcome to this session on unlocking growth for your firm with QuickBooks Online Advanced. My name is Danny, so quick introduction from me. I'm one of our professional services consultants here at Intuit QuickBooks. What that means is that I work with our accountant and bookkeeping partners all around the country and ensuring that they understand how to get the most out of their QuickBooks subscriptions, and we do that through consultation or webinars like these as well. What I'll be talking to you today about is our QuickBooks Online Advanced product. And we'll start just by where we position this in the market and kind of what exactly it is. And then we'll just talk into the workflows and how we can use those to improve efficiency, both within our firm and for our clients as well. Then we'll have a look at our revenue recognition tool, custom fields and reports, and our spreadsheet sync tool as well. Now, what I'd say with this is that these are just some of the features that are available in advance. There's a whole suite of new features that are available. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more, please reach out to your account manager. Okay, so let's start off with, first of all, where exactly do we place this in the market and what is it? So QuickBooks Online Advanced is the top level of our license lineup here in the UK right now. And it's designed for businesses that are beginning maybe to outgrow the standard financial management software tools that are available to them in standard QuickBooks, but they're not quite ready to make that leap to an ERP or an enterprise resource planning system. Okay, so it's meant to be that stepping stone between the two. And that's where we're kind of focusing this product to be kind of that step between a standard SMB before they move into that full mid-market solution. Okay, so how it does that is through a number of ways, but the first one of those that I want to talk about is how we can improve efficiency directly with the workflows that are available in there. Now, we've introduced these workflows that can automate many repetitive tasks that exist within QuickBooks, and it can do things like reducing the need for third-party applications. We understand from talking to many accountants, bookkeepers, and businesses that there is a certain sense of app fatigue that exists, especially as you start to kind of grow as a business. So what we've done with Advanced is add in certain features that can help reduce that reliance on those third-party applications in some areas. And we've got about 40 different workflows right now that can help you within the Advanced product. And that's to help both you, the accountant, and also the business owner as well. So let me show you a couple of those workflows that we've got within Advanced. So if we go to the workflow automation piece on the left-hand side, we can then go through into the templates area. And you can see that we then get the list of all of the different workflows that we can begin to automate. So we can do things like scheduling and sending reports. So you as the accountant might want to send out reports directly to your clients on a regular basis. Well, QuickBooks Advanced can automate that process for you, so you don't need to go in and run those anymore. Then as we go down, there might be ones where you might want to send reoccurring statements to the customers. So if you're doing any of the credit control for any of your clients, or your client is having to do any of that themselves, QuickBooks can automate that for you. So if you go into send a reoccurring statement, you can see that we just tell QuickBooks what we want to send, your balance forward, your transaction statement, for example. Then we go through and we can just select how often we want that to happen. So we can do it daily if we want to, change the email template, exactly kind of what that will look like. And then from here, we can select the customer we want it to go out to, or even the project as well. Okay, so this is great for your project-based businesses because statements can be sent out on a regular basis for each one of their projects individually. Okay, so that's from the recurring statement workflow. The other one that we've focused on is approvals. Okay, so we understand that as businesses grow, it's likely that they're going to need an approval process within their financial management system. So if we go into workflow automation and approvals here, you'll see that we've currently got 3 approvals in place. That's for bills, invoices, and your POs. Now, if we go into bills as an example here today, you can see that we've then got the actual multi-condition approval tree. Okay, so we go through and just fill this out. We'll first of all select the conditions for our first approval. So we're saying the bill has to be between £0 and £1,000. So it's going to pick up all of those bills as they come through. Then we can add further conditions to this as well. So whether that bill payment status is maybe unpaid, for example, we could base this on location or class if we're using those. And we can actually do it by who last changed that bill or last created that bill as well. We can do it on certain products or services that we sell, certain accounts that it actually sits in. And again, that project capability comes up as well. Once we've selected all of those multiple conditions that we want, we can then hit save. And then we then select if a bill meets those conditions, who then approves that. So we can go through and select, I'm going to be the approver on that one today. But then once I've approved it, I can then add another approver. So after that, we can go through and say that actually Henry is my boss. So Henry will then need to approve that on top of my approval. And we can do that, so on and so forth, I believe up to 10 approvals. Okay, so you can go through and select those. We can then go through and change what that task will look like directly within QuickBooks, because within QuickBooks Online Advanced, we've now got a task system where tasks can be raised for different individuals within the business. And we can also go through and make sure that an email goes out directly to that person, and we can change what that email looks like. And the good news is that we can also copy in people within that business that aren't necessarily QuickBooks users. Okay, so you might have a director that sits outside of QuickBooks. They still want to be kept in the loop on all of those approvals. We can go through and copy that person in. Okay, so that's our approval system. And you can see that we can add 3 different trigger points with 4 different approval workflows based on the top of that right now for our bills, our invoices, and our POs. We are also going to be bringing in estimates a little bit later in the year. So we're also going to have the same setup for all of our estimates going out from QuickBooks as well. Okay. So that's some of the workflows that we've got available to you. What I would urge you is that if you've got QuickBooks Online Accountant, we do have this available in our accountant area. If you ever want to have a look at some of the workflows that you can actually go through and start using, then just go into Workflow Automation and you'll find that on your accountant dashboard. Okay, so let's move off of workflows now and let's go into the revenue recognition tool. Okay, so this has received great feedback from our accounting community just on the amount of time that it can help save. So it's going to basically just recognize revenue on a custom schedule from one invoice, and then it's going to automatically journal that from the deferred revenue account into a current income account. And then from that point, you can get a clear picture of how much revenue is yet to be recognized by running certain reports. And all of that is ASC 606 compliant as well. So if that matters to any of your clients, then they can use this tool to do that. So think about any of your clients that are doing anything on a subscription basis, they're paying for anything, they are receiving payments on a subscription basis, they can use this to avoid any of the manual journal entries. Let me just show you very quickly where this lives and kind of what it looks like. When we go into the advanced accounting area, we can go into revenue recognition. And what this will do is generate all of my current invoices that I've got revenue recognition turned on for. Obviously, you need to set these up. If you're interested in doing that, you can find documents online that will just show you that setup process. But once we've got those set up, we can then just add them to certain services that this business is selling. Take this consultancy service for an example. So if we go into this one, you can see just before we view it that it's currently in progress. This is a new revenue recognition. So currently all of the balance sits in our liability account. Nothing has been moved into our income account as of yet. You can see in my other ones that this is not the case. We've got values being transferred directly into our income accounts. And then we've even got some completed ones down at the bottom. So if we go into view our new one here, you can see that we've got basically just the revenue recognition dates laid out for us, how this is going to be journaled. And then you can see the liability accounts on the right-hand side, and then obviously the amount that's actually going to be recognized. This is actually going to be happening over a period of 6 months, but we can edit this by clicking on the edit button, and we could change the service duration if we wanted to. So if we're in fact we're going to split this out over 12 months instead, you can then see that it just changes that. So now it's changed the amounts that's going to be recognized, and it auto balances them for us as well. So if we actually wanted to draw down half of this amount at the beginning and then just recognize the revenue for the rest of it over that year, we can then hit and change that. You can then see it auto balances the rest for us as well. Just to let you know, those service intervals, you can select this one at the initial setup. You can have months, quarters, and years. So it depends on how that business likes to recognize revenue, but you can set it up exactly how they need it. Then from this point, it would just be simply clicking on the apply button down at the bottom, and then that revenue recognition is set up directly for your client. But what this means is that you're not going to have to journal any of these ever again. So you're going to be able to just recognize the revenue as time goes on. And then if we just close out of here, without saving on this one, we can then just go through, run a report to show us our current position with all of our recognized revenue, how much is being deferred or unrecognized, and then obviously kind of how that relates to each of our customers as well. So we can see that in totals on a month-by-month basis by using this report as well. Okay, so that's revenue recognition. Let's go back into our presentation here. Let's move on to the next one, and then we can talk about spreadsheet sync. Okay, so this is a tool that we've added on to Advanced. So this is kind of a tool that you'll need to download a plugin for, but that plugin is going to enable a two-way sync between QuickBooks and an Excel spreadsheet. It allows you to input data in bulk, first and foremost. So it's not just about kind of looking at reports. What it's going to allow you to do is move data between QuickBooks and that Excel spreadsheet. So just think that you can actually take 1,000 invoices all at once, put them all into this spreadsheet, and then post those directly into your QuickBooks license. Okay, so that will just move all of those automatically over. What it also allows you to do is do multi-company reporting. So for any of your clients that have a few different companies, what you can actually do is have a multi-company consolidation. That's your profit and loss, your balance sheet, even a profit and loss by class run across that group of companies. And if any of them are multi-currency, you can set a home currency for that group as well. There's a lot of capability there that we're aiming more towards those larger businesses to help them not only post more and get more into QuickBooks, but also just extract more data and look at kind of more reporting, even add manual calculations onto those reports as well. Now, for the purposes of time today, I don't have time to go in and show you our spreadsheet sync tool, just because it's such a big product on its own. But if you're interested in learning more, please reach out to your account manager, who'll be able to kind of show you or show you around exactly what it does and how it does it. Okay, so that's spreadsheet sync. Let's move on to the next section here, which is our enhanced custom fields and reporting area. So one of the key things with Advanced, which we've kind of designed with our accountants and bookkeepers in mind, is that as these companies scale up and grow, you want to spend more time in the advisory space with them and probably a little bit less time in kind of like the bookkeeping space with them. And we've enabled this by giving you more options when it comes to actually report creation and customization. So with the custom fields, you can actually create custom fields that can track anything that you want within QuickBooks. And that can just be tailored to really specific business needs. And I'll show you what some of those are in a second. Then we can enable those custom fields to be used with any of our reports that we want to use. And that will allow you to track bespoke business data across the business. Then we can actually add any of those custom reports to unique tracking dashboards that you can build out both for yourself and for your clients as well. So it can all be visible in one space using data that you've actually curated directly for that client. So we're adding kind of more of a bespoke service offering that you can then take to your clients. So if we go into our QuickBooks license, first of all, let's have a look at our custom fields, and you'll find them in our settings cog and then under lists and custom fields. So you'll see here that we've got all of the custom fields that I'm currently tracking. I'm looking at things like sales locations, routes, for example, subscription end dates, job numbers, whatever it is that I want to track. What you can actually do is add 12 custom fields to any of your transaction forms. So you can have 12 different bespoke data points on there. And if we go into the add field, I'll just show you this. You can see that we've got the ability to go in and select the data type here. So we've got kind of numbers, text and number. So if you want people to actually type in on those custom fields, but we can also have drop-down lists, okay, to avoid kind of any human error. So they can go in and just select the options that you give them. But we can have 100 different options on each of those drop-down fields, should we want to have that. Okay, so that means that we can capture loads of different data types directly on the custom fields area. Then when we select category, this is just how it will map in terms of reporting. We can also ensure that any of these custom fields are printed on the form so they're visible to our clients' customers as well. Okay, so these are all the transaction forms that we can select it on. You'll see that there's 13 different forms here that you can select. Okay, so once we've built those custom fields and they're added in, I'll just take us into a report and I'll show you how we can build that out. So let's go into our reporting area and then let's go into our custom reports. So what we've done with QuickBooks Online Advanced is remove the need for you to actually take a report and modify it to kind of get the report that you want. you can actually just come into QuickBooks Online Advanced instead and click on Create New Report and just start with a blank template and start adding in columns from wherever you want. Okay, so I won't make you sit there and watch me do that. Instead, I'll show you one that I've already created. So you'll see that on the previous page, I was tracking subscription end dates with one of my custom fields. So think about that in terms of kind of revenue recognition, how that might all tie together. So if I go into my subscription end dates here, you'll see that I've got a chart view at the moment. But if I go back into table view, I've then got just a very simple report just showing me the revenue impact of those subscription end dates as they come up, grouped by customer. Okay, and I've just built this report from scratch by using the column option on the right-hand side. You'll see that if I go into more columns, I then can go through and just start selecting any columns that I want to bring in from any data area within QuickBooks. And then also I've got all of my custom fields listed at the bottom here. So I can start bringing in all of those just by ticking, and that will add in the column as I go on. I've got the filtering option in the top right here, so I can go through and filter, add more grouping, and I can now even build out pivot tables directly in QuickBooks itself. If I just go and click on Show Pivot Table here, probably not the best use of a pivot table on this one, but you can see here that it just simply converts my chart into a pivot table. Then at the top, you'll see that I've got the option to go through Click More Actions. We can now add contextual notes to all of our reports as well. So if I click on Add Note, I can set that up here. And the reason why this would be useful is that if we actually go through and then schedule this report to be sent to my customer on a regular basis, that's going to mean that they're going to have all of that context that you've written for them next to all of the reports. So then they might not have to call you and ask for more information on that. They're going to have that context there that you've already put together. You'll see we've got some other options on here. So we can go through, add to this to groups, add it directly to our management reporting. And we can also go through and run this in that spreadsheet sync tool if we wanted to modify that further as well. The other thing that I just want to show you is kind of what we saw when I came onto this page, that we can convert all of our reports in QuickBooks Online Advanced into nice, easy to read charts. And then from that chart, we could then go through onto the More Action section, and we could go through and add that directly to our Performance Center, which is that customizable dash. Okay, so let's go to our Performance Center so I can show you that. So if we go back to our custom reports, exit without saving, and you'll see a Performance Center just on the right-hand side. So if we go into our Performance Center now, you'll see that I've got all of these different graphs, but that subscription end date is now just sitting directly in my Performance Center. So I can track that now, something that I've created bespoke in this Performance Center. And I can track up to 25 different charts all within this area. I can quickly add new charts just by clicking on any of these options here, or I can add a little bit more detail by clicking onto the Add New Chart, then add in things like my current ratio, our quick ratios, maybe our cost of sales reporting, and then make sure if I click into our cost of sales, for example, I can have this on a time period, I can further group this data, and I can add filters to this as well, and even to put live comparisons in there so I can see tracking versus previous periods or previous years as well. Okay, so we've got lots of options, but this should just ensure that your client has access to real KPIs directly within their QuickBooks system now that you can curate for them. And if they don't like to come into their QuickBooks license, you can always click on the export button. And then from here, just choose which charts you want to export to them and then send those out. Okay, so that's custom fields and reports. It's a whole new suite available within our advanced system to give you more data insight for you and your clients. Okay, so next section here we'll go into, and this is one that I didn't list on our agenda at the beginning, but I just wanted to point out to you that we do have backup and restore available for you. So this is just a way that you can ensure that you've got a safety net around all of your data. So we can schedule automatic backups of all of your business data for each client and then easily restore from that. So just imagine you've got a backup to run 6 p.m. every single day. Your client might go into the license the next day, maybe play around with it, maybe do something they shouldn't. And then you've got the confidence to know that you can just revert time back to 6 p.m. the previous day and start again. Okay, so that's just going to save you lots and lots of time unpicking client mistakes. Or even if you just want to go through and maybe check how a third-party application works with QuickBooks, post a load of data, then just run it back yourself and then just start again, like it never happened. All of those backups can be stored locally or directly in the cloud. Okay, so it's up to you on where you want to put them. If it's obviously better for you to store them locally, then you can do that. Okay, but that's going to give you a huge benefit in terms of kind of backing up all of that data within QuickBooks. Okay, So just as a bit of a recap of some of the bits that we've covered there. So we look first of all at our improving efficiency with all of those workflows that can kind of automate those repetitive tasks that we might have within QuickBooks. Then we had a look at our spreadsheet sync tool very briefly. Again, if you do want to find out more information on that, I would urge you to reach out to your account manager just to have that conversation. But that's a two-way sync between Excel and QuickBooks. Then we've got revenue recognition, allowing us to recognize revenue from moving it directly from a deferred revenue account to a current income account and automate that process. Then we've had a look at custom fields and our reporting section, how we can actually get more data out of QuickBooks now and build out kind of more services directly for our clients with that. And then finally, we just had a look at backup and restore within there as well. Okay, so that is everything from me. With that, thank you very much for your time, and please reach out to your account manager or a professional services consultant if you want to find out any more. Thanks very much.